Hey guys, welcome to another installment of the Academy, and thanks for watching. I promised I would get back to some more ASL tutorials, and true to my word, here we are back with starter kit example number 5 from the rulebook, which is on page 8 of the rulebook. And what I'm going to do is I am going to step through this on Vassal. Here we have it set up on Vassal. Same setup as shown in the starter kit example from the rulebook. It just looks a little bit different because it is on Vassal. And I'm going to play it out a little bit differently to show you that there are better attack approaches, tactical approaches, when firing the American units in prep fire than is shown in the rulebook. Now, I know in the rulebook, they are showing you the example just to show you the prep fire mechanics, but I'm going to show you the prep fire mechanics as well as a better way to fire these units in prep fire. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat it, but I'm going to add a medium machine gun to the American order val here to show you how rate of fire and the ability to shoot at other targets if you maintain rate of fire may change the way the Americans attack. All right. So in the example from the rulebook, what they do is they take a squad from this stack and this squad, and they fire at those units there in that building. And then they take the leader and the remaining squad and they fire up at that squad, which I understand they're showing the mechanics, completely pointless and useless shot tactically. Now, in the rulebook example, they simulate rolling a 2, which is very unlikely to happen, and they actually get a morale check. The German unit passes anyway. So I'm going to show you how to do that differently in the second part of the example, how to attack differently. And then lastly, they fire this green squad at that adjacent German unit in the orchard there. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through that exact same example, but I'm actually going to roll the dice and see what we get. The first shot that is taken is a combination of this squad here and one of these squads, not including the leader, forming a fire group and firing over at P5. So we're going to get 12 firepower from this squad. It's going to be 6 doubled because it's point blank. That's going to have a +3 modifier for the stone building. And this bottom squad is going to be another 7 firepower with a +4 modifier, +3 for the building, +1 for the orchard because it goes right along this hex side, which means the fire group has to use that die roll modifier, the entire fire group. They have to use the worst case die roll modifier for the entire fire group. So that's a 19 firepower +4. That's going to go down to a 16 on the chart as there is no 19. So a 16 +4, or as some of you gentlemen like to say, 16 up 4. Let's roll it out. That's a nothing. That's a 14 on a 16, which I'll look. It is nothing. It's way down here somewhere. Let's mark these prep fired, the bottom guy there, and this guy here. In the example from the rulebook, one of these squads broke and the other one ended up being pinned. In our case here, even though it's 16 firepower, +4 modifier is quite a bit to overcome. We would need to roll essentially a 7 or less because we'd have to add 4 to it to get to the 11, which is the maximum roll we could get to have any kind of effect. So it was about a 50-50 shot on that there, and we got no result. Now the next attack is one that I feel is a bit of a wasted opportunity here, and that is the last paratrooper squad and the 9-1 leader. They're going to shoot up here. It's going to be outside the normal range of the squad, and it's in a stone building. So it's going to be 3.5 firepower. It's halved as area fire. So that's going to go down to a 2 firepower on the chart. And it's going to be a +3 for the stone building and a -1 for the leadership. So it's going to be a 2 +2 shot. Not a lot of opportunity for a result. We're going to need to roll a 4 or less. And I believe the rule book example, there was no result on that. Let's see what we get. Maybe we'll get lucky. We didn't get lucky on this first attack over here. We did not get lucky. I rolled doubles. They do not cower because the fire was led by this leader here. Okay. Get that on top. They have both prep fired. And the final shot we're going to do is with this green squad here over to 05. Now, the green squad is inexperienced, so if I happen to roll doubles, they will cower two firepower columns on the infantry fire table. But the firepower is going to be 5, but it's going to be double because it's point blank. So that's going to go up to 10. There is no 10 on the chart. It's going to go down to an 8 firepower, and it's going to be an even shot. There is no terrain effect modifier for orchards. Orchards are hindrances only, and only if fire goes through that hex, not into the hex. So there's no die roll modifier for the shot. It's going to be an 8 even shot or an 8 plus 0. Essentially, we need an 8 or less on an 8. Good rule of thumb, infantry fire table. 8 on an 8 is a morale check. And woo, nice roll. Let's mark him prep fire. A 3 on an 8. That is a K2. So for a K2 result, the unit immediately suffers casualty reduction. So it is reduced to a half squad. There's only one unit in the hex, so it's the only one affected. Casualty reduced to a half squad, and then it immediately has to take because it's a K2 here, it needs to take a 2 morale check, plus 2 morale check. And we roll an 8, so it is broken. And I believe that was a similar result from the example in the rulebook, except in the rulebook, a 12 is rolled, so it was ELR'd, casualty reduced, and broken. In this case, there is no ELR, but it is a broken half squad. In the example in the rulebook, it became a lower, like a second line, broken half squad. So similar results there. Overall, the results over here, we did not get any results at all, which is what I would have expected. We got a lucky roll firing this green squad over here. But you can see how just circumstances and luck of the dice can change the outcome of any prep fire and defensive fire, pretty much anything in the game. Okay. Next, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to do an example showing a different method of fire, the way I would fire this in a different order. And then I'm going to do a third example, and I'm going to add a medium machine gun to the American Order battle to show how when rate of fire is maintained, you are not bound by mandatory fire groups. Machine guns can fire, they maintain rate of fire, they can fire at any hex as long as they maintain rate of fire. Okay, I've reset the example here, and I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to change the order I do my attacks, which is kind of important here. I am not going to fire up at P1. That's wasted firepower to a very, very low chance shot. What I'm going to do is start with this 536 green squad, and he really has no other targets. He's not going to fire up here. That's long range in a stone building. Not going to fire over here. That's going to be 4 firepower plus 4 through shooting through the orchard into a stone building. Probably not going to get much result there. So its only viable target is to fire at the German 467 in 05. So why don't we start with that? That's really the only viable shot it's going to take. Maybe we can get a result there, and then that'll free up these guys to make choices on whether to concentrate all their fire over here or maybe pound on these guys some more. So let's start with the 536. We already know it's going to be an 8 even shot over to 05. So let's roll. Probably won't get lucky and get a 3 like we did before. Famous last words. We get another 3. Alrighty then. Remember that's a K2, so they are casually reduced, and they have to take a 2 morale check. Another 3. They make it this time. So even though we got a really good result, we ended up not breaking them. We casually reduced them. We killed, roughly half of the units in the squad, but they did not break. They rolled very well on their +2 morale check. Next up, I think I have these units left here. Not going to break up this fire group because I want to take advantage of the -1 leadership for both of these paratrooper squads. So I'm going to fire the 666. I'm not going to fire here. I'm not worried about this half squad anymore. I'm going to fire over here and hope I can get a result. That's going to be 6 doubled because of point blank fire. 12 plus 3 on the stone building. Let's see what we get. 12 plus 3. We get a 9 on a 12. That's some kind of result. That is a morale check. Morale check twice. Broke. In the example, ELR is 3, so that is ELR'd. And broken. Bottom guy. Morale check 7. Yeah, that was a normal morale check. He rolled a 7, so he is pinned. These are nearly identical results. Different firing method, but very similar results. But I still have this stack here with my leader here. So I've got, these guys are pinned, broken, half squad. These guys up here. What if I just for the heck of it, what if I combine these and fire it up here? What would it be? Well, it's beyond normal range, so it would be 7 firepower, 14, then half down to 7. So it's going to be a 6 firepower plus 2. What would we need? We need to roll a 6 or less to get a result on them. Or do I pound over here on these guys? They're pinned, they're broken. Or do I unload on this guy? I say we keep unloading on these guys. I could decimate this guy with a, for 28, 24 minus 1. 24 minus 1. I'd get a result no matter what. But that's just a half squad. Not worried about him, especially with these paratroopers. I'm going to fire over here. So that's going to be a 14 firepower down to 12, plus 1 orchard, plus 3 building, minus 1 leader. So it's going to be a plus 3 total, 12 plus 3 over here. Got a 10 on a 12. That is a pin check. Bottom guy is already pinned, and this guy is broken. Broken units do not pin. Okay, that was a little bit different method of firing. We got very similar results to the starter kit rulebook example with a couple more lucky rolls. The first roll with the 3 was pretty lucky, but I'm surprised this guy broke. This guy, more often than not, if I rolled a 3 on that roll, he would have been broken as well. Same result here. I was hoping to get a better roll than a 7 firing with this fire group over here, but thems are the dice. All right. Next example number 3. Let's add a medium machine gun to this this fire base here and see how maintaining rate of fire might affect the way you fire at things and mandatory fire groups. All right, I've reset it, added a medium machine gun. I'm going to start out with the same firing method. I'm going to fire the green squad over here. That's the most viable target. Then I'm going to fire this devil squad. Probably going to fire over here again. Then I'm going to see what I can do with this big fire group and what happens when I maintain rate of fire. So if you remember, this is going to be an 8 even shot. Got a 6 on an 8. I suspect that is a 1 morale check. And I would be correct. 1 morale check. He passes. Next, we're going to fire Devil Squad over here. That's going to be a 12 plus 3. Got a 9 on a 12. I think that's a morale check. That is a morale check. Morale is 7 twice. Passed and pinned. Bottom guy is pinned. Then lastly, we have this squad, this fire group with the medium machine gun. I am definitely firing over here with these units. Let's form one large fire group. It's going to be 14, 18. That goes down to a 16. If we remember, 16 plus 3 over here. Got a plus 3. We got an 8 on a 16. That is a 1 morale check. And we got rate of fire. Got a red 2 here. Rate of fire is a 2. So let's mark mark them prep fire, remembering that the medium machine gun is not marked prep fire. Every other unit is, except the medium machine gun. But because the medium machine gun maintained rate of fire, the leader can still direct it and maintain his -1 leadership modifier for any rate of fire direction for that medium machine gun. Okay, what was the result here? It was a 8 out of 16. It was a 1 morale check. Okay, on these two, 1 morale check. Pass, broke 10 total. ELR 3, they just passed their ELR, but they are broken, and that immediately strips the pin off of them, and that should be down 1. Okay, now the medium machine gun maintains rate of fire. This whole stack fired over here. They have to. That's a mandatory fire group. If any units in the same hex fire at the same target, they all have to form a fire group. In other words, I couldn't fire just this squad over here and then take another shot with just this squad over here and then just the medium machine gun over here. That can result in a lot of kind of cheese balling in the infantry fire table, multiple attacks, and hope you get a result, a break, and then a morale check, and then maybe another morale check, and you get a casualty reduction, right? That sort of activity. So you have to combine all of your firepower for all the units in a hex that are firing at the same target, unless you maintain rate of fire with a medium machine gun, which I did for this medium machine gun. Now its firepower is 4. I could fire over here at a 4+3 with my rate of fire. And the results of that, chance of that getting result is going to be, you need a 4 or less, essentially. Or I could fire over here at an 8 - 1, which is what I'm going to do. Chances of getting result here, fairly small. Chance of getting a result here, pretty good. I would probably need a 9 or less or so to get a result. So I'm going to fire over here with the rate of fire, and it's going to be an 8 firepower because it's point blank, -1 for the leadership. Remember, hindrances are not TEM. There is no TEM diral modifier for this. So let's see. So 8 - 1 did not get rate of fire. So now medium machine gun is officially marked prep fire. And it's a 4 on an 8. 4 on an 8. It's a 2 morale check. We just missed the K2. 2 morale check. Pretty good result. And that's a 9. Did not ELR, but he did break. And in the subsequent route phase, he's going to have problems routing. I'm not going to show the routing. And this is just prep fire, but he's going to have to route. He could route to P4. I mean, his target's going to be probably this building here. He can't stay here. He can't stay there. He can't go here. He could route to P4 without being interdicted. The orchard would cause a hindrance from everything, all the American units, and he could route back to here. That's probably what he would do. So he's going to have to beat feet out of dodge. This guy's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to go back to here. That's his target. That's the result of 3 examples. The starter kit example straight out of the book, but I rolled the dice. Example 2 was showing how you could fire a little bit differently, perhaps optimizing the results on basically this platoon down here and ignoring this guy up here, because you need a hope and a prayer to get an effect on him. And lastly, I added a medium machine gun to show you how mandatory fire groups do not bind a weapon with rate of fire to fire at the same hex if it maintains rate of fire. And a leader stacked with it, even though the leader may be marked prep fire, he can still use his -1, in this case, leadership modifier to affect the final die roll. All right. That is it for this starter kit example number 5. I'm glad I'm getting back into a few more tutorials to help starter kit players try to grok the rules a little bit better. And thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And I'll be back with another video before you know it.
Get to the chopper!
If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw, thanks for watching, and let me know how I can do better. See you in the next video.